We are a real family, a heavenly family. You are my brother and my sister, the ones who believe what I believe. You're my brother and my sister, man, and I love you. I'll stand beside you, and I want you to stand beside me, come what may. God made us. We are his offspring. You got to love one another. You got to pray for one another. You got to watch each other's back as much as you can, because sometimes we get surrounded by filthy monsters. Let God pour out his mighty blessing and strength upon you for this last hour. Love your brothers and sisters and the family of Jesus. It is a real family, and it is the only family that matters. You know, people talk about mafia families. This is the real family, baby. This is all that matters. We are so incredibly strong in our God when we give it all to him. And we are so incredibly weak and vulnerable when we deny our God. Hello, good people. It's Rob Lee. You'll find this fascinating if your mind is wired for truth. If your mind is wired for the truth. Would you like to be a little bit smarter and learn something that will really help you? I mean, really help you and your family. You got lies, and you got fantasy, and you got the truth. Now, I'm going to show you some real gangsters and truth that you've never heard about. Now, this is part 3 of our Fallen Angels series. And each one, man, I'm trying to go a little bit different place to take people to the truth. Because what I'm talking about has everything to do with your life today and all that's going on. Now, there are gangsters, tough people, and badasses all over this world, so they say. But the truth is they're in short supply, except in the fantasy world. There are a plethora of gangsters and revolutionaries all over the internet. Are these gangsters? Are these gangsters? No, this is Hollywood fantasies. What about these guys? This is what we hear in the music. These are gangsters and these are rappers and they come... No, man. No. These pigs got a better chance of getting the job done. You see, this is pretend. This is fantasy. I'm going to show you some real gangsters today. I mean gangsters, man, with a big capital G. I had a person tell me in a comment the other day that for the truth of fallen angels and giants, I should check out Trey Smith on YouTube. This poor person must not have watched the last video when I tried to tell the people that Trey Smith and Rob Skiba and all these others, they're liars, man. They're cons. Yeah, man. Do you really believe that so-called 50-foot giants were breeding with 5-foot women? When nowhere in the Holy Bible does it say that these monsters were anything over about maybe 9 to 10 feet, man. But we're supposed to believe that 50-foot giants were breeding with 5-foot white women. It's easy to see why you can get the masses to believe anything. And I do mean anything, man. Now on to my gangsters and dropping some real knowledge for those who desire real knowledge, the real truth. We're going to briefly discuss an important message that I have for all people, even those that dislike me, and there's quite a few that do. So let's talk about angels and gangsters, and let's talk about the people that are associated with it. And you'll more than understand this message if you take a few minutes and watch all of it. You will understand that it is on point 100%. When you see the strict regulations imposed in parts of the world, what do you think this will inevitably do to people? Life has drastically changed, and it'll never ever be the way it was. The dollar that was already folding is now worth about 70 cents. Walk into any grocery, retail, or hardware store, and you quickly realize that your dollar is not worth $1 because all the products and food have gone up as much as 25 to 30%, and in some cases as much as 50%. In some cases, you can't even find food the way you used to. Now, there's no short supply of all these products. It's just that they are being held back on purpose. The price of gas has risen, and we all know that they can make it rise or they can make it go down. Cars and houses, even used cars, have become so high that most people cannot afford to buy. Now, most medicine is not healthy. However, some medicine is needed by certain people, and many have addictions. These things don't get thought about when you talk about the end days, the last times, and survival. Things will never be the same in this nation or any nation. The genie is out of the bottle, man, and it can't be put back in. We are seeing evil thrive and prosper like never before. It's as if a chain has been broken on this rabid animal, and this wild beast is now left to run wild, unchecked, and free to do as it pleases. I make this video to reach any person that wants to hear the truth. And I ask you to share it. If you think it's honest and it moves you, share it with people. I know that nations and peoples and groups, individuals who have been lifelong enemies are going to become tolerable and even unite against certain people. This is a fact. I know what we're seeing right now is the beta test of what will come in the future when the deception and evil rise higher. Oh yes, I do believe that you are going to see a fake UFO invasion. Now I know there are people right now that scream, they'll never take a shot, they'll never do this, they'll never do that. But when the heat is cut up, they'll not only take one, they'll take 10, and they'll be happy they did. I know we are living in the last hour. In my last video, a person named Paul Ashton, if that's his real name, it doesn't matter to me, he posted, and he said, and I paraphrase, he said the Jews created the God of the Bible, and the Jews created Jesus. He said it's all a lie. The Bible's a lie, God's a lie, Jesus is a lie. It was all created by the Jews. He then went on to say that he believed that white people should get back to their European gods. Now, this is hardly the first time I've heard this. I've heard about Odin, Thor, and all these other gods, man. In fact, one of the reasons that I took the Hitler followers to task back 3 or 4 months ago was their mockery of God, Jesus, and the Holy Word. I don't give a shit if they worship Hitler, if they think he was a good man. To me, there's no difference between Hitler and Obama. They're all the same to me, man. If what this guy Paul Ashton said is true, and if he really believes it, and all these people believe it, I have a question, man. Why have the Hitler people, why have the MAGA people, why have all these people, these atheists, why have you all not gotten together? And why have you not received help from your so-called European gods, your false gods, your pagan gods? Where's all the help at, man? I mean, damn, dude, hey, where are your European gods? Don't you think it's about time for these so-called badasses and life-changing gods to make an appearance? I mean, damn, dude, you're losing everything you have. I mean, there's a snake squeezing the hell out of you. Don't you think it's about time that you call your European god, boy? Huh? Don't you think it's about time that you go ahead and call them? Now, you said you got to get back to your European gods. Well, what's stopping you, man? I mean, what do you need? What do you need? Help? Get on with it. Get on with it. You see, this is the mindset of a large part of the population of this nation. And all white nations share this view in one manner or another. Now, they may not talk about European gods, but it's a belief that is contrary to what is the truth. Fair enough. Now, you believe what you wish, but again, don't you think it's time for your gods to start kicking some ass and helping their followers, man? Many who say this are the descendants of the same people that God, the real God, said to destroy. Did you know that? Yeah, God said in the Bible more than a few times to destroy them all. Men, women, children, and animals. Why did God say that? Did he say that? Damn right he did. Deuteronomy 7:20. Is God insane? Maybe God's just evil. Or maybe God's some made-up character to keep control over the naive masses. Well, in part 4, we'll examine that more closely when we look at some other stuff as we go deeper in this series. For now, I want to talk about some gangsters, man. I'm talking about some badass gangsters. I'm not talking about Hollywood. I'm not talking about made up. I'm talking about some real deal gangsters. You'll find this fascinating, as I said earlier, if your mind is wired for truth. Now, these bad boys are not made up. Nope. These are some real ass kickers. I want you to check this out. Now, if you'll indulge me, I have a short couple of stories for you about your ancient ancestors. We'll meet some real gangsters, okay? This is how you get it done, okay? There was an ancient white peoples called the Israelites who still have descendants on this earth today. No, not the Jews. And no, not all white people are descendants of the man named Jacob. We'll deal with that later in another video. Therefore, these Israelites were wandering in the wilderness. Millions of people. Imagine millions of people in a caravan, man. That's mind-blowing. Amazing, is it not? Millions of people. Can you imagine 10, 15 miles long, nothing but people? Now God, not the Euro God, but the real God, he went with them in a cloud by day. He went with them in a light by night. He fed them with manna bread that rained down from heaven. He gave them water in the desert. And one day, some of the people, some of the men, started complaining and moaning about wanting meat. They became tired of the manna bread, which is called angel's food. Now, God would drop this food down early in the morning with the dew, and the people would go out and gather it up. It was called angel's food. When the men started complaining, we want meat. God said, relax, I'll give you some meat. It's on the way. So God proceeded, because the real God can do these things, you understand. He proceeded to call out to the sea to bring these birds in from the sea over to the desert. And he's going to rain them down for these people and tell them, have your fill. Eat up. Now, some of the Israelites knew the deal. They wanted no part of the birds that God flew in from the sea, and they wanted no part of the people that were screaming for meat. The people started to complain, saying, why did God bring us out of Egypt? Because you see, these white people had been in bondage in Egypt. Yes, our people were the first slaves. That's a fact. My people, some of your people, our people were the first slaves. They said, why did God bring us out of Egypt for us to die in the desert? We were better off in Egypt. Let us go back. God said, relax. I hear you, little children. So these birds started to fly in. And God rained them down. And the people went to eat this choice bird. And just as they started to eat, God struck them dead. Your father and your God did something else. He destroyed almost everything they had. God was angry. He also did something else. He sent some gangsters. He sent evil angels among them. I mean, badass, real deal gangsters to come show the people who's the mother freaking boss hoss. You see, there ain't but one. There ain't no Euro gods. There's only one true God. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. My God, your God. Who is the mother freaking boss hoss? So God sent these evil angels to show everybody who's the shot caller here. Who's the real mafia don, baby? Who's really calling the shots here? Who's in control? Now, did these angels, did they fall by their own accord? Are you copying me, men and women? Now, come on now. We're laying down the truth for all the so-called truth seekers. There isn't but one boss hoss, one. There isn't but one Big Daddy. There isn't but one Don of the family. There isn't but one God Almighty. You understand? In Psalm 78:49, God says this. He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath, and indignation and trouble by sending evil angels among them. Who sent the evil angels? God. Did they act of their own accord? Nope. God did it because he can and will, when he chooses, do anything he wants. The similarities between those people and the white nations of today are striking. Do you think this is the only time that God used angels to punish? Not hardly. God has also used angels for protection and other things. I know, because I know a little bit about the word of my Father that so many boys and girls wish to deny. I'm hardly an expert, not even close. Now think about the current situation and ask yourselves a very serious question. Has God sent more evil angels against certain people today? What are they doing and why? This is not the only time that God sent angels and evil spirits to do things of this nature. All throughout the scriptures, God did it. Do you know the story of Sodom and Gomorrah? Two angels came down to visit Lot to save him. It was a depraved, nasty, filthy couple of cities, man. Kind of like New York and LA. The people wanted to rape the angels. Yes, the people wanted to rape the angels. The angels smiled because these angels were gangsters, man. The angels smiled and made these people blind. They told Lot, hey, gather your family, get your stuff, we're leaving, because this city is going to be utterly destroyed. Real gangsters, baby. Not the made up shit you see on the Synagogue of Satan's TV. Now, I'm not done. Let me introduce you to the boss's son. His name is Jesus, and he has his angels too. Now read with me about your family. Yes, family, because these angels are your brothers. They call you brother in the book of Revelation. In Revelation, an angel calls us brother because we are part of the same heavenly family. Some of us are doing work in heaven and some in earth. Read with me. This is the wheat and the tares. We're just going to read a few verses. And here's Jesus Christ with his angels. And here's some gangsters times 10, man. Matthew chapter 13, verses 37 through 43. And he answered and said unto them, he that soweth good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. And see, when you see these boys talking about Euro gods and God don't exist and the Bible's been rewritten, these are the tares. These are the same people that God said, get rid of them all. Get rid of them all. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers, are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. 41. That Jesus, the Son of Man, shall send forth his angels. Now listen to what these boys do. And they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity. What do you think that means? Use your imagination. Well, 42 tells you, doesn't it? And shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous, talking about God's family, shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. Now, hey, boy, and all of you boys who deny my Father, Jesus, the Bible, and believe the nonsense and bullshit that the Bible was written by Jews, where are your Euro gods? Answer me, boy. This is my family. Show me yours. Show me yours. Either shut up or show me yours. Now, all the angels that we've been talking about, who controls them? God. You see, God is not some punk to pick a fight with, man. God can cut your hand off and scratch your ass with it. God is a loving Father, best friend, and mighty beyond what our poor little minds can even comprehend. If you took every man, woman, and child that's ever walked this earth, and everything that they think they know times infinity, we still could not begin to scratch the surface of the power of God. God is not evil. God is not cruel. God can help you and teach you in ways that will blow your mind and make you weep. God can heal you and God can kill you. God can beat the brakes off of any nation, anyone, or anything he chooses, and there is nothing that you, the synagogue of Satan, bankers, masons, devils, or anybody can do to stop it. Now to the people who claim you have some tough and powerful God, you call them. I'll call mine. And we can do anything you like, anywhere, anytime, and you will lose and lose badly. I'm not some big talker. I am everything that I say that I am. My Father and Jesus are my life. And I would do anything to their enemies that I'm asked to. You know, there were people in the Bible, there's a few now, not many, that when you talk bad about the Father, man, they'd take your ass out. Do you not know the story of Phineas? Phineas. You see, God has left some of his sons on this earth with his courage because God has given them his courage. We've not been neutered like the vast majority of men. We are like the angels, our brothers. We can get it done when need be because we are the sons and daughters of the one true God and we are loved. Now, this doesn't mean that we're always talking about fighting. There are people that don't want to fight, nor are they capable because everybody gets out of God's cup a measure of what he wants to give them. Everybody has their own gift, their own talent. They get the job done on sheer faith and love of God. There's a 75-year-old woman in our ministry named Karen. Forgive me for going hoarse. She's been in my ministry since day one. She can call on God 24/7, and he will listen and intervene on her behalf. That's power, man. He'll do the same for you and all his children if you will believe and devote yourself to him and the gift that he gave you in Jesus Christ. Answer me a question. What's the difference between these people? Here's the synagogue of Satan. Here's some people. What is the difference in these people? It's a simple question. In the eyes of God, the one true God, what is the difference between all these people? Liberals, all of them. It doesn't matter, man. Muslims, Buddhists, Hindu, it doesn't matter. Go all over the earth. Is there really any difference in them? Not a thing. They are all anti-Jesus Christ. Then why do you suppose you have so many people saying they are so different from one another? Because in reality, they're not. You see, in due time, many of these people will unite. Mark my words, when it gets worse, most of the people that you think are with you and that are on the same side would gladly become best friends with the devil if it had been a place to stay, something to eat, and something to drink. You see, these people are not of the one true God. They don't understand God's wrath. Psalm 76:7 says this: Thou, even thou, art to be feared, and who may stand in thy sight when once thou art angry? Now let me ask you another question. Do you think the evil angels, the devil himself, evil spirits, or anything seen or unseen is going to get in the way of God Almighty when he says, I've had enough, I've had enough? And God is getting ready to say, I've had enough. Let me tell you why. What's the number one reason? Because people have asked me, hey Rob, what do you think the number one sign is of the end of the last days? And they'll talk about abortion, they'll talk about diseases, they'll talk about volcanoes, they'll talk about this. But what they never talk about is this. What would piss God off the most? Yes, I know it's cruel to see what's done to children, to animals, to the earth. I know. But what would make God the most angry? The mockery of Jesus Christ. That's what would piss God off. That's what would make God take his hand and smash your ass to bits. Because God took a part of himself and let him be butchered for you and me. And you think God is going to take it lightly when these mother effing, these Nazi types and these atheists and these MAGA people and these liberals, these batshit crazy people, these Judeo-Christian nutcases mock Jesus Christ? Do you really believe God is not going to say, when I start kicking your asses, you won't have an ass left? We live among evil beings in the flesh and spirit that work non-stop to hinder, mislead, and deceive. Underline this now. When they are allowed. Forgive me for being hoarse. And throughout our existence, I'm talking about the Israelite people. And no, not all of you are Israelites, man. To be an Israelite, you got to be related to the man Jacob. And secondly, hear me now, your whole life is what? Jesus. Not some Yeshua made up stuff. Not some Yahweh stuff. Jesus, man. We have battled evil in the flesh, in spirit, and always victorious when we fight them in complete faith in our Father and Jesus. And let me say something else to you. If God Almighty wants to call a tree, a rock, or any other man or woman on this earth to be his child, he'll do it. And there ain't nothing that nobody can say to God, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. Because many of these dumbass white people have actually convinced themselves because of Christian identity. And I'm going to get to that in a future video. I'm going to expose this nonsense like you've never seen before. They believe somehow they've cornered the market because of bullshitters like William Fink, that God can only love white people. Oh my God. God's beating the brakes off of white people, man. The comments and behavior that I see in this world are of a godless, insane, and spiritually dead people who mock God the Father and Jesus 24/7. And yet they wonder why their lives and nations are going to hell. And you don't think God's going to send some more gangsters? Or hasn't already sent them? Folks, you ain't seen nothing yet. The comment made by the guy about the Euro gods is indicative of the attitude of 99% of this nation, my nation, the United States of America. The stupidity, weakness, and sheer ignorance is so big that we cannot grasp just how big and how deceived the masses have become. I close by asking this question again, and we share the answer. When you see the strict regulations imposed in parts of this world, what do you think this will inevitably do to people? Think, people. One, it punishes the godless, and it will only get cut up. You don't think this is going away, do you? And two, it will push some people who become fearful and hurt and scared. It will push them what? To God. Because they will start to understand, I need help. And I ain't talking about no bullshit Euro gods. I'm talking about the real God. Now, if you will understand this, you'll start to see a far bigger picture unfolding with witches, wizards, evil angels, evil spirits, and fallen angels. So as you go forward, and we'll talk about this in part 4 and 5. So as you go forward and you start to see these things unfolding, you can call on your pagan Euro gods, or you can call on the real God in the name of Jesus Christ. Hear me. We are a real family, a heavenly family. You are my brother and my sister, the ones who believe what I believe. You're my brother and my sister, man, and I love you. I'll stand beside you, and I want you to stand beside me, come what may. God made us. We are his offspring. You got to love one another. You got to pray for one another. You got to watch each other's back as much as you can, because sometimes we get surrounded by filthy monsters. Let God pour out his mighty blessing and strength upon you for this last hour. Love your brothers and sisters and the family of Jesus. It is a real family, and it is the only family that matters. You know, people talk about mafia families. This is the real family, baby. This is all that matters. We are so incredibly strong in our God when we give it all to him. And we are so incredibly weak and vulnerable when we deny our God. Pray. I know some of you don't pray or even talk to God because I've asked you. Pray. Why do you think the Bible tells us to pray? Prayer should be a huge part of your life. Go in private and share what's in your mind and spirit with your Father. Understand me as we close. Come what will, a war and tribulation like we've never seen, you will endure, survive, thrive, and fight like hell, and you will win. And even if you die, you will die the most glorious death you can ever envision, because you will die for God. Either way, you are going to win.